The NFL draft has come to a close, so that means episode 137 of The Next Best Bet is filled with some NBA picks, some NHL picks, and some MLB picks once again. I'm Jake Higgins with Brett Levy, as always. Taking a look at how we did last episode, Brett, I got a little too specific with my NFL draft picks. I mean, Justin Fields, he did not go to the 49ers, although we did get a surprise with what quarterback they picked there. I was right. The Mac Jones misinformation was real, just didn't have the right other quarterback there. Kyle Trask, not quite the fifth quarterback picked, but overall didn't do too bad in my NFL drafts because one of my bets did hit the over 1.5 running backs hit, and that helped me be only 1 unit down with my NFL draft picks.
Yeah, Higgins, you mentioned it. It was a lot of fun, the NFL draft. My New York Jets, we drafted hopefully a franchise quarterback, but you know who else did, Higgins? Hopefully the Chicago Bears at plus 380, which was a nice hit there. The Green Bay Packers went defense, like I told everyone. They went cornerback at plus 360. And the Steelers went running back. I was able to go 3 for 3, and 3 and 3, excuse me, Higgins, and did all right on draft night.
And once again, your Levy lock hit. My pick of the pod didn't. So just like that, I'm 2 games back once again because the Nuggets won and the Warriors lost when they traveled to the Timberwolves. Let's jump into our Beginner's Boulevard, though, Brett, because this might be a term some people heard this weekend if they were paying attention to the Kentucky Derby across the board. Now, this is 3 horse racing bets that covers a horse to win, to show, or to place. So, may have been a term you heard thrown around with the Kentucky Derby this past Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a simple way of saying you bet a horse to win, place, or show. So it's 3 wagers, quote unquote, across the board, Higgins.
I'll be honest, this Kentucky Derby this past year snuck up on me a little bit. I didn't quite see as much attention to it as we have the past few years.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a lot going on with the NFL draft. There was some good golf being played, the NBA, the NHL, so MLB. So last year the Kentucky Derby actually it was run in September, which is crazy to think about. But last year there was just less things happening, I guess.
Absolutely, there were. So let's jump into the NBA now, which is coming down the wire in terms of playoffs, trying to secure seeding and all of that. And before we get into our picks yet, Brett, I want to talk to about a game that we don't necessarily have a line for right now, and that's the Knicks-Grizzlies game, because throughout the NBA season, we have monitored who has been the best team against the spread so far this year. It was the Utah Jazz for a while, then it was the Phoenix Suns for a while. Now, it's the New York Knicks. So, although we don't have a line to talk about in this podcast, Brett, you'll probably find me on the Knicks against the Grizzlies. They're traveling to Memphis on Monday night. And on ESPN, they were hinting a plus 3.5. If that's the case, I might take them on the money line because the Knicks have been 9-1 against the spread in their past 10 games, and they've also just been 9-1 outright in their past 10 games. The Knicks are currently playing as we are recording right now, so that may change, but the Knicks are on a bit of a hot streak.
Yeah, no, Knicks have been playing great, Higgins. I totally agree. Memphis has been playing pretty well too, though. I wouldn't discount them. I'll be interested to see that line when it comes out, but I cannot hate betting on the Knicks. They have been fantastic. Julius Randle he's definitely taking home most improved, right?
He has to take home most improved because he has had a breakout season for sure with that young Knicks squad. That seems to be like a little bit of a nucleus that you can get to develop and maybe have some fun in New York. Let's talk about the 2 games, though, Brett, that we have on the docket, that we at least have lines for to talk about on Sunday night. That's the Golden State Warriors versus the New Orleans Pelicans and the Portland Trailblazers versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, before we get to the one that you and I are both on, Brett, the Portland Trailblazers versus the Atlanta Hawks, I'm taking the Hawks -1 at home here simply because Portland's up in Boston playing as we are recording this game on Sunday night, Brett. They have to travel down to Atlanta, who isn't playing currently. They just got an injured Trae Young back, so they're back to kind of full strength, got their big premier player back. I like the Hawks -1 in this scenario, so give me them at -1 on the spread.
Fair enough, Higgins, but you mentioned it. We're both on the Warriors Pelicans game. And, we've got different bets here, but I'll lead off. I'm going to be backing the Golden State Warriors plus 1.5 on the road. The Warriors are currently a few games up on the Pelicans for that last play-in spot. I don't imagine they want to give up a game here, Higgins. I think they're going to come out firing on all cylinders. Really, I'm just backing Steph in this one. I'm backing Steph over Zion is pretty much the bet here.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure which team I want to be on for this because each of them are 5-5 in their past 10 games, have been a little bit streaky as of late. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the under because there's a lot of hype surrounding this over under at 236.5 in my opinion. The New Orleans Pelicans are the best at hitting overs in the NBA right now, hitting 40 overs and 24 unders. But Golden State hasn't been fantastic at hitting their overs this year, and the fact that they just got Steph Curry back has inflated and hyped these numbers up, to be frank. And at 236.5, you're going to find me taking that under, especially when you look at these two teams in their past 10 games. In over unders, you have the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 5-5, and then you have the Golden State Warriors, who are also 4-6. So, I mean, or sorry, 6-4 at hitting their unders and 5-5 for the Pelicans. So, give me that 50-50 shot. It's a really high over under. I don't think it's going to get hit.
All right, fair enough, Higgins. I definitely think Steph Curry bumps the line up a little bit, though. I totally agree with that. There's no denying, right? Like, you see he's on the court. That's worth at least like 3 more points.
And I don't blame the books for doing it either. They got to cover themselves a little bit with Steph on the court, especially with how hot he's been since returning from his injury. He's been red hot as of late. Let's get into some NBA or NHL though, Brett, because there are some Monday and Tuesday lines that we have out. The NBA or sorry, the NHL is coming down to the wire just like the NBA is. So let's talk about some Monday games here, Brett.
Let's do it, Higgins. I backed the Sabres last episode. I backed them plus 2.5 goals. They could not do it, Higgins. They lost by 3. So I will never back the Sabres again. The Islanders are -1.5 versus Buffalo. And I get it at plus 100 at the sportsbook right now. So I'm going to take that and run and just not even look back. I probably won't even watch the game. I'm just going to take that, assume nothing crazy is up with the Islanders roster in 24 hours, and, be really confident with that juice because there's no way that is staying at plus 100 the way the Sabres have been playing.
Yeah, I entirely agree with that, Brett. The plus 100 wasn't quite enough value for me, so I stayed off of it, mainly because even though the Sabres, they're already eliminated, the Islanders, they're sitting in this 3 spot of their division, and they may be jockeying a little bit for playoff seeding, but I'm not confident enough with that value, so I'm going to keep off of that one. I am going with a different New York team, though, Brett. The Capitals are visiting the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden, and this over-under set at 6. You're going to find me taking the over at plus 105 because I think it's some fantastic value. And of the 6 games these two teams have played against each other so far, 3 of them have had 6 goals or more scored, and 3 haven't. So it's a 50-50 shot of it being a push or me hitting. I like those odds with a plus 105 value.
Fair enough. I hope the Rangers score enough to keep it close.
The Capitals on the road are also really good at hitting overs so far this year, so I'm also riding that train a little bit. But sticking in the NHL on Monday, I do have a second pick, Brett, and that's the Predators versus the Blue Jackets, and kind of like your pick with the Islanders Sabres here, I'm taking Nashville on the road -1.5 at plus 150, though, a little bit better value, and they're facing off against the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are also already eliminated from playoff contention. The Nashville Predators, they're sitting in the 4 seed. Not only are they protecting themselves against the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks, but they're still trying to secure that 4 seed. So I think they're going to come in with a lot of motivation here, try to seal up that spot, try to get both points, not take this to overtime, and that means a multi-goal win. So give me the Predators -1.5 at +150.
All right, go Predators. You need a big win against the Blue Jackets for our guy Higgins tomorrow night. Need a few goals, Nashville.
And then jumping on to Tuesday, Brett, because we know I love to give out some picks more than a day in advance in hockey. I'm actually going to be on the second of a back to back that you're on, Brett, with that Islanders Sabres game. They're playing not just Monday, but they're playing Tuesday as well. And the over under right now for that game is set at 5.5. So give me the over +105 because I think, kind of similar to yours, that the Islanders are going to blow them out. And if you look at it, it's -1.5 for the Islanders at +105 instead of the +100 that you're getting on Monday. I still don't like that value for a puck line bet, but I do like that value for an over-under, which is what that over is sitting at, is +105, because that means that the Sabres, if they score one, it helps me a little bit. I think the Islanders are going to blow them out, kind of like you think they're going to do on Monday night. I would just like the Sabres to maybe add a goal to help me hit that over 5.5. So +105, give me that value right there.
Yeah, I mean, I may hop on the Sabres again on Tuesday. Or excuse me, I may fade the Sabres again on Tuesday night, Higgins, and just take the Islanders. But and I haven't done the research. It's bad on me, but there've been a lot of back to backs this year, and I just feel like you're not covering both of those games on the puck line. Like maybe you get them both on the money line, maybe, but I feel like you have to split a lot of those because the other team's got to come back after getting beat by you with a little more emotion, a little more energy. You just think they've adjusted their game plan a little bit. There's just a lot going for the team that just got beat the night before or 2 days before.
Yeah, and there is the stat that we've brought up a few times. I'm looking it up right now, but uh, hometown dogs, they're still winning about 65% of their game on the puck line.
Right. Yeah, you have mentioned that. So, yeah, the odds are the Islanders aren't getting both of these. So, I mean, maybe I just take them both at plus odds, and at least I break out even if I split.
Maybe you see how Monday goes first, and
Yeah.
then depending on if they lose Monday, I don't think they'll lose it again on Tuesday, so might take that to cover it back up. Let's jump into our money line magic, though, Brett, because this game on Friday was spectacular because it shouldn't have been a money line magic. It should have been a blowout. The Spurs in the second quarter led the Celtics by 32 points at one point. But the Celtics slowly, methodically chipped their way back into this game. And with 5.5 minutes left, it was a tie ball game.
You're too kind, Higgins. It was a one-man show. It was 1-on-5, baby.
It absolutely was a one-man show, and we'll get into that a little bit. Jason Tatum has had a fantastic game in this one, absolutely. But 5.5 minutes left. This game gets tied up for the first time since that 32-point deficit. The Celtics finally marched their way back, and there would be 6 more lead changes and 5 tie-ups that would ultimately force overtime after DeMar DeRozan made back-to-back free throws with 10 seconds left. So not only did the Celtics fight to tie this game up, they continued to fight to stay in it, and then they almost had the win if it wasn't for DeRozan's last second free throws in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar's been great for San Antonio all season. We've seen a few times on Moneyline Magic Higgins. He's getting the shots down the stretch for this team. So he's the guy they trust, but we kind of brought it up. We kind of teased at it. Jason Tatum was incredible. I mean, 60 freaking points, Higgins. It's him and Larry Bird for the Celtics that have done that.
60 points. One of the youngest players in NBA history to score 60 points as well. He had 10 of the team's 15 points in overtime as well to win this game 143 to 140. But Boston should not have been in this game at all. This should have been San Antonio running away with it because, I mean, if you looked at the NBA on Saturday, the kind of the same thing happened in the Pacers Thunder game, except the Pacers ran away for a 152 to 95 win.
Yeah,
The Thunder didn't come back like the Celtics did because this isn't normal. This is a money line magic moment.
yeah. I mean, I guess the counter argument would be the best player on the court. For each team was on the winning team. In this case, it was Jason Tatum dropping 60 points. In the Pacers game, Demontis Sabonis had I want to say he had a triple double like halfway through the first half. Like it was unbelievable how quick he put up a triple double. So, I these were two dominant performances on that night, and they helped carry their team to victories. Obviously, one was a blowout, and the other one was a crazy comeback win. Brad Stevens' daughter went home at halftime, and I don't blame her. I would have gone home down 32.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gotta get home. Enjoy your Friday. I mean, that's Dad's job. He has to be there. You don't. I understand that. And we'll get into our MLB bets in a second here, Brett. But today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space, so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And be sure to remember to add our podcast to the next best bet in the How Did You Hear About Podgo section of the application. Now, Brett, into our MLB bets on Monday, and we have an interesting amount of lines. We have about 8 lines for Monday's game so far, don't we?
Yeah, we do, Higgins. I think most people are probably looking forward to this Giants Rockies game because we have a Coors game, Higgins, and that's always a lot of fun for fantasy, for betting. These high over unders, lots of runs being scored. Maybe some people want to get on the strikeout props. I don't know, but typically they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm on this game actually. I'm taking what everyone naturally should be taking when there's a game in Coors Field, which is the over. Actually, when we first started this rundown, the over was set at 10 and it was minus 110 each side, Brett. By the time I went and placed it when we were done with this rundown, it moved up to 10.5 at plus 115 values, so I took that value. I'd still take this over under up until 11 potentially, because if you look at how both of these teams have performed so far, the Rockies, 8-2 over their past 10 games, hitting their over-unders. The Giants, 6-3-1. They pushed in a 7-inning or a 7-run game against the Miami Marlins back on the 25th. So both of these teams, the bats are kind of flowing right now. So give me an over 10.5. It's not too high for me in that high elevation.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, obviously the run line is going to be set high, Higgins, because we all expect runs at Coors Field. But you seem to like this one. You have reasons why you like it, and I definitely think the Giants and Rockies can put up a number of runs. So I think it's well within the realm of possibilities. Another interesting game that could be pretty high scoring. The Rangers take on the Twins. Kenta Maeda this year, Higgins, has a 6.56 ERA. He's surrendered
Ouch.
7 home runs. 36 people have gotten a hit off him this year. He is not pitching very well. Dane Dunning, not so great either. 3.97 ERA. Hasn't surrendered very many home runs, but uh, a 3.97 ERA is nothing to write home about, Higgins. So this can be a high scoring game. Personally, I'm just going to back Texas in this one because Kenta Maeda's numbers scare me, and I don't think the market has adjusted yet. I think people generally see Kenta Maeda versus Dane Dunning, and they're like, oh, Maeda's the better pitcher. But something just isn't right this year, Higgins.
I get that. I get that. And the plus 154 value on the money line, I think, is superb as well. And what should be a high scoring game. We've seen both these teams fully capable of putting up a ton of runs. So I'd expect it to be in the bullpen's hands, maybe not Kenta Maeda's hands, anyways. And that's kind of my feelings of the last game that I'm on. It's a heavy lean right now, mainly because I'm waiting for the other probable pitcher to be announced. We have the Baltimore Orioles versus the Seattle Mariners. Baltimore, the probable pitcher is Dean Kramer, but Seattle really, there isn't a probable player listed right now, so I'm gonna wait to see who that is. But the Mariners minus 1.5 at home right now are sitting at plus 180. And Seattle is the best team in the MLB against the run line. They are 20-9 at covering the run line. So at home against a Baltimore team that just played on the road today and is traveling to Seattle to start a new series tomorrow, I tentatively like this. I just want to see who's on the mound for Seattle first.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Higgins. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Could be a bullpen day for them. I don't know. So yeah, definitely something for us to keep our eye on.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, Brett, the Levy Lock pick of the pod as always, and you have a 2-game lead. So what's the Levy Lock?
Well, real quick, Higgins, before I get to that, I just want to mention Glasnow versus Otani on Monday night should be a great one as well. And obviously, that'll be a lot of fun. I also think Dodgers Cubs, Bueller Hendricks is a good matchup. So there were some good games, just nothing I really wanted to bet on.
Yes, I got ahead of myself. You're right. That Rays Angels game should be very interesting. Otani, the last time he was on the mound, he got pulled for a blister, though, so I'd be interested to see how much of a rope they give him on the mound that night. The Dodgers, I probably would have been on their run line, Brett, but we didn't have one listed. We only had a money line. So, Dodgers visiting Chicago tomorrow with Walker Bueller on the mound. I don't expect the Chicago Cubs to necessarily keep their hot streak that we've seen the bats of Baez and Rizzo keep going as much against a guy like Walker Bueller. So I might find myself in that Dodgers run line as well.
Fair enough. All right, now I'll give you my Levy lock, Higgins.
All right then.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to the ice for this one, which has me a little nervous, but I got the Islanders minus 1.5 at the Sabers, plus 100 juice, so even money, Higgins. And I just think that's a good pick. I think the Islanders are clearly the better team here. Plus, the Sabres burned me in the last episode, so I have no faith in them. It's clearly an emotional pick. I'm making it my lock because they burned me so badly. I got an extra goal and a half with them, Higgins, and they couldn't freaking cash.
I understand that, and I'm tempting danger because my pick involves a team that my pick of the pod was last episode. Last episode, I had the Warriors minus 5 going to Minnesota. And the Warriors didn't win, so you know what? I'm not going on the Warriors, but I am on an under. Under 236.5. This is going against the grain a little bit because New Orleans is the best team at hitting overs in the NBA this year. But they've kind of been subdued recently. They've only hit 5 of their past 10 overs, and the Golden State Warriors have hit 6 of their past 10 unders. So I think 236.5 is a little bit inflated because of Steph, because of Zion, because there's going to be a lot of attention on this game. So I'm going to try to sneak onto that under and cash some easy money there.
Fair enough, Higgins. Let's slow down on the scoring in that NBA game, and let's put a few pucks in the nets, Islanders.
Absolutely. Play some defense on the hard court and on the ice. Maybe get some to the back of the net. Make sure to follow us on social media as always. We have some picks in between now and next episode on Thursday. At NBB Pod on Twitter, at Next Best Bet on Instagram, and the Next Best Bet Facebook page and YouTube channel. This has been episode 137 of the Next Best Bet. For Brett, I'm Jake. We'll talk to you again on Thursday.